The global gaming industry keeps growing, worth some $184 billion in 2023. With 77% of players now making purchases through web shops, seamless access to games and content is the new focus. Today we're joined by Chris Hewish, president of Xsolla, the global video game commerce company, to talk about his personal connection to the industry and Xsolla's role in the future of game commerce.
Absolutely. So we're looking at a model where game companies can grow beyond the platforms and they can start to go direct to the players at a much better margin and getting all of the data that they need to really build a better experience for their players.
Chris, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Likewise, thank you for having me, Andrew.
Why don't we start with you telling us a bit about how you got into the gaming industry yourself?
So I've been a fan of games my entire life, and I grew up playing games, board games, Dungeons and Dragons, things like that. And after university, I said, okay, I'm going to take the summer and try to get a job in games. And I had no connections in the gaming industry and no real resume or CV to speak of. So I sent a letter to my favorite games company, a company called Games Workshop, and I wrote this cover letter in the voice of one of their fictional orc war bosses, recommending this human, or dis Umen, as they would say in the vernacular of their games, recommending me for a job. And this orc war boss, I gave a name, Big Boss Belly Busta, and sent this letter off. And much to my surprise and happy surprise, they loved it. And they brought me in for an interview and hired me for a job. And that really became my first lesson in the whole world of business, that the idea of having passion for what you're doing can really open doors for you. And much to my surprise at the time, what I didn't realize is Games Workshop were looking for people that were passionate about their games. And this letter just rang that bell and opened the door.
I mean, all sectors and industries have a culture of sorts, but that's never more true than with the gaming industry. There really is a culture in there, isn't there?
There really is. And especially when you're starting off in your career, you need that passion to really lean into the creativity and lean into the culture. And then you'll learn how to do the business of the games along the way.
So big picture then, what's the gaming industry looking like right now? Where does Xsolla fit into that? And what are the different competing fortunes that are going on at the moment?
So the games industry continues to grow. It's over $180 billion this year, I think projected to be close to 184, 187. So it's a massive industry, and it's become a true global industry. So all over the world, you have game developers and players and companies, which is just amazing. So there's plenty of opportunity. And that's where a company like Xsolla comes into play, where those opportunities are evolving. We're at a point now where the industry really is moving towards a direction of connecting directly with your players, where companies in the past, and they continue to rely upon third-party distribution channels to get their games out to players. But we're at a point now where companies are evolving beyond those and really connecting directly with their players. And that's where Xsolla comes into play. We like to provide all of the infrastructure that a company would need to conduct the business of its games, whether that is selling items to players or selling games to players, creating their own distribution platforms, whatever it might be. We provide all of that to companies and help them operate the business of their games.
How technical is that infrastructure you're talking about?
So on the inside, it's very, very technical, but for somebody to use it, it's very simple. We make it incredibly easy for companies to integrate our products into what they're doing, and then we provide amazing support to help with that.
I mean, you're offering an alternative to the established gatekeepers, right?
We truly are.
So how does that provide opportunities for gamers? How does everyone monetize the work that they do? What's the business model?
So our business model is we just charge a flat 5% fee and you get everything. And you can pick and choose the parts that you want, or you can use all of it. And at the end of the day, this allows you, as we talked about, to connect directly to your players. And the benefits are multiple. When you're going through a third-party platform at the moment, you're paying a much higher fee, sometimes upwards of 30% of your revenue to go through that platform if it's an app store or a PC distribution platform. So with 5%, obviously there's a big margin benefit right out of the gate, where companies keep more of the money that they earn, and they can use that money to retain staff to build better products. This is incredibly important when the industry at the moment is going through some contraction in regards to layoffs and things like that. But it also allows companies to get a full picture of their data. They get all of the data about their players, and that's important because it means they can make better experiences, better games for the players. So it really is a win-win on both sides.
Briefly, let's look at that contraction you mentioned, because yes, there's some sort of a shift, some sort of change taking place. Is that something that you know is a pivotal moment for a company like yours?
It really is. You know, we are at a point in time where the games industry is going through a lot of consolidation. It's really becoming much more of a mature market, and that has incredible benefits, but it also comes with a lot of risks and at the same time opportunities for game developers. So for a company like us, we can come in and we can help developers really take control of their business and really be independent and keep more of their revenue, have better relationships with players, and really succeed in an environment where it's becoming much more difficult to succeed.
I mean, is what you're offering a kind of either or proposition for people producing games, or is it an either and? In other words, what's the Venn diagram of the whole industry from Xsolla's point of view?
Absolutely. It truly is an either and. We really believe in providing an opportunity to expand your business. It's not about trying to replace what you're currently doing. And when we talk about a Venn diagram of the industry, you can really think of the games industry as having three major components. There's sort of the payment side of everything, which is just truly payments, what you would think of as PayPal or different payment companies. You have game technology companies that are providing all of the technology to build and operate your game on the back end and a lot of the server side things. And then you have companies which are platform companies, which are really helping with the distribution of your games. So Xsolla sits in the middle of that Venn diagram where we provide all three of those capabilities for people that want to run the business of their games themselves.
We see a sort of trend in something like movie business. We can see it in books almost. We can see it in food, which is the idea of the franchise. Mm-hmm. Something that producers know that works, and so their easiest route is just to keep providing more of the same. And that's happened in gaming as well. You know, you can get certain games where you get one, you get two, you get three, you get four. Has that had the effect of elbowing out smaller operators? Has that had the effect perhaps of contracting the choice that gamers might be offered?
Absolutely. That is a topic in the industry, and you're seeing a lot of that as the industry goes through this consolidation period and it becomes mature and discovery of new games gets more difficult. You see companies leaning into those legendary franchises, those really big tentpole games, whether it's a Call of Duty or a FIFA or now FC, EA FC, whatever it may be. But you see companies leaning into those bigger franchises. And it creates some difficulties, but also opportunities for smaller game companies where smaller companies, it's hard for them to get discovered with a new IP or a new franchise. But if they are able to go direct to the players themselves, leverage social, build communities, there is an opportunity to come in as a new player, but it's tough to do that through the established distribution.
That's kind of what I was driving at, is that your business model may be an opportunity for outliers who otherwise would have thought, we're just not going to get anywhere with this.
Absolutely. And our business model really does help companies who are coming in with a new IP, also with established IPs. It helps everybody. But if you're a developer, whether it's a one-person developer, 5, 10, 100 people developing a game, and you have something new, we really do help connect that new IP with your audience and help you retain more of that revenue for your business and have that relationship with your players.
Tell me a bit about the Xsolla Funding Club.
So Xsolla Funding Club is a great initiative that we started many years ago, and it helps connect developers who are looking to get some funding for their games with a wide network of, I think it's over 180 different investors, publishers, companies that are looking to fund games. And what we do is it's really just an introductory service. We don't charge anything for it. It's completely something that we do just for the industry. We're able to leverage all of the connections we have to provide this opportunity for gamers or game developers to connect with people. And basically with the Funding Club, we will look at the proposal, we'll help the game company refine it a little bit, give feedback. And then if it's something that we feel, gosh, as gamers, we would love to see this game come to market. We will introduce it to the funding club. And for the people on the funding club side, the investors, they know that they are going to get introductions to games that are vetted, right? That these are worthwhile things to invest in. We've had a great success rate with getting people funded for that, and it really does help more of that indie level developer.
So, final thought then, Chris. You still glad you wrote that letter of recommendation all those years ago?
I really am glad about that, Andrew, because not only did it teach me a valuable lesson right out of the gate about passion and creativity, but it really introduced me to this industry that has grown and become so massive, so large over the years. It's a fantastic industry that has created so many opportunities for people all over the world when it comes to being able to come up with new ideas, new businesses, bring them to market. Gaming is more popular than it ever has been, and I'm very, very glad and fortunate to be part of this.
Chris, great talking to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
The future's bright for the gaming world, and companies like Xsolla remind us how the sector is developing and changing from its earlier years. Equal access is the central goal underpinning this kind of advancement, but with that, the opportunities for growth and expansion remain constant.